Okay, well, welcome back to Too Many Tabs with the W. I feel like that's really important.
Oh, okay.
Well, I feel like that's important to, after our last
Absolutely.
debacle and all of that. And it was interesting because I was in the grocery store yesterday. And I feel like this is a perfect example of the title, Too Many Tabs. Because I'm sure you're like this. I make lists. Like I can't go to the grocery store without a list because I either get nothing or I come home with $500 worth of things that make no meals.
Yes. Per aisle. My lists are per aisle.
Oh, same. I have to because otherwise I'm like swirling around the grocery store. It's probably like you in a Victoria's Secret.
Yep. That's 100% what it is. They walk up to me every couple minutes. Like, can I help you with something? I'm like, no, please don't help me.
I'm like, I actually might need it, but it's like not in this aisle. So like I can't stray from the list. But I'm like, I had this one thing that I needed. I need to I'm making some stuff for some coworkers that have birthdays. And like, it's so important. Almost like sparked the need to go on a Saturday night, right? Driving home, great. Didn't get that. Nothing. And I'm like, and this is a perfect example of like ADHD in like full blown fucking action.
But you spent at least like $100 on a bunch of
I got everything else I needed, but like the one thing that like started me making a list
wasn't in your
and I had the list sitting out there and I remember going, yeah, I got everything. Like signed, sealed, delivered, baby. But like then I had to stop at another fucking grocery store.
I was gonna say, did you turn around?
I didn't turn around. I was like, I just am gonna find one on the way because it's one item.
Okay. What are you making?
It was like, I need to make some cookie cakes. So I was getting some pre-made cookie dough. Yeah. But like
each individual person's getting their own cookie cake or just one?
Yeah, just like a little,
nothing,
nothing crazy, very small, but just, like I was thinking about it as I was driving home and I'm like, there's so many tabs in my brain. Like, thank God I circled back to that tab because I would have gotten home and been like, motherfucker, I've got to go to the grocery store again because I need this item.
That's why I get disappointed in myself when I'm not like prepping so much further ahead of time because that's going to happen every once in a while. You're going to miss one thing that's going to throw you completely off course. So this is why your birthdays are probably in February.
Well, I was thinking that because I'm rolling through the aisles and I'm going to see a friend next week. And I was like, maybe I should be like, do you want to do your kids like Valentine's Day things? And I'm like, that's like a full month in advance. Like no one thinks like this. We're like
so cute,
crazy. Though. Yeah, but like.
Yeah, I've already started thinking about Valentine's Day.
Because I'll forget.
Yeah. It's just, well, you get so busy and then like you don't have enough time to actually plan for the stuff that you 100%. Want, right?
1,000%. So that's that. But another thing too was that I just wanted to like hear about your week because this, I personally think, is the worst week in corporate America.
Yeah.
Like I'm never quite sure when I can stop fucking saying Happy New Year because you're like, I think now, but like I had a Friday morning call and I hadn't spoken to anyone on that call yet. And I'm like, do I say it? Do I not? Do I say it? Do I not? Like we survived.
I said it.
Kind of.
I set it up until end of day Friday.
I think it's done now.
Tomorrow will no longer be Happy New Year. I hope you had a good weekend.
Even if you haven't talked to these people.
Yeah, I might ask like how their holidays were, but I'm not gonna like.
Those are a fucking thing of the past.
I need a new holiday.
Right. You're looking forward to MLK Day? Yes. Or it just me?
I'm counting down. Are you guys closed on MLK?
Yeah, that's like the only one we have. We don't have President's Day.
We're following like bank calendars. I feel like bank is President's and MLK.
That's fair. We used to swap where it was like 1 year it was MLK, 1 year it was President's, and then like people would forget like which day they had off. So it was like just let's collectively decide.
And all the schools are closed on both, so then you're really screwing up parents. Well, we've picking one or the other.
We've decided that Martin and his is more
priority. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but we survived. Like, do you feel like it was an okay week?
I mean, we talked a little bit about this before. It was a rough week. It's definitely time for me to figure out what I'm doing in corporate. Actually, I have a funny story. I felt it was like 2 or 3 weeks in one, but it made me feel a million times better that at like 4:30 Central, so 5:30 Eastern on Friday, I get a call.
Friday.
Yes, this is
not like January 2nd before.
January 9th, was it? Because today's 11th.
Yeah.
I get a call from a client who, like, obviously I have her phone number saved to my cell, like we're friendly, but never would expect for her to call me at 5:30 on Friday. So I'm like, fuck, something is so ethically wrong.
As you're closing your laptop, you're like, and
we're back up. And I picked it up. Hey, how are you? I probably shouldn't say her name, but here we are. Redact. And what did she say? She was like, oh, hi. I'm like, hi, it's Ariel with,
You called me.
oh, I'm so sorry. I actually don't think I was meant to call you at all.
Oh.
I was redialing and I redialed the wrong number, which we hadn't talked in a couple months on myself.
And
so
you're like, honestly, thank God. Like I was hoping
not
you didn't
prepared.
have something for me.
But she like rambled for another 10 minutes about something that had nothing to do with the client relationship I had with her. And then at the end was like, I'm so sorry that I called you. We'll talk next week. And I hope you had a good like first week back and bye. And I hung up and I'm like, holy fuck. Cause she had a way worse week than I did. So
You're
I guess
like,
I
you
can't
know what,
complain.
he's doing okay. It felt like the longest, like that Monday, like,
War zone.
is everyone okay? Like the answer was no. So I feel like there were two approaches. Some people that were trying to have like a gentle Monday back,
Yeah.
right? Where it was like, okay, let me get into my email, blah, blah, blah. And others who were just like ready to like hurt you. Like they were like, just wanted to circle back from the email that I sent on December 23rd. And you're like,
Let's do tomorrow.
read the room. Like, not yet. It's too quick. You got to give me 24 hours from that Monday morning to like even have read the email.
We shouldn't have even had calls on Monday. And I had like back-to-back calls.
Same. And I was like, I don't know what we're talking about because I haven't read that email yet. So
Right. I'm not there.
right.
But people hadn't taken that full 2 weeks off, right? So some people were like,
I didn't, but
waiting,
I still was like, it's
not
just
prepared.
protocol. Like,
Yeah.
don't be a dick.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like last time we were talking about resolutions and
Yikes.
I know I was like I am a pretty aggressive person. Like Kyle would definitely say that when it came to the 75 hard. But I was thinking about like all the things we want to talk about and the severe ADHD and lack of ability we have to like stay on one topic for more than 30 seconds without squirrel. And I was thinking about how like we talked about 75 hard and something that's really important to you and I is like discussing body image. I feel like actually that's one of the things that was like the catalyst in making our friendship as close as we are, because you were really one of the first people that ever like openly talked about it. And I feel like I just suppressed all of those feelings that I had, which was great because I had a great childhood and I never felt impacted by it. And then it was like 3 years of therapy. I was like, yeah, I guess that did really affect me. Yikes, yikes, yikes. And like, I think I do have like a binge eating disorder. Like, oh my God, great information to have.
Here we are.
But like years of therapy, EMDR were, you know, on the other side of it. But I think that felt extra important to me to like discuss at this time of year because the thought of like restrictiveness is so important. And I think most people center that around their body image, like what they feel they look like. And I would love your like thoughts on this because I know you have your own like struggle and journey and history with all of that. But the one thing that I thought was really interesting, I don't know if you've heard this quote, and I don't know why I haven't heard it sooner, but I was reading, someone was like, when we do this whole like restrictive, whether it's like 75 hard, whole 30, dry January, like there's all these things based around restriction. And she was like, it's all based on like what happened between Christmas and New Year's, because typically we're all like indulging, we're enjoying time with family.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should really not do that. Like, I think there's obviously a balance where you're not like, I'm so disgustingly sick because I've just eaten chocolate chip cookies for the last 10 days.
Yeah.
But like, you know, and a lot of things like food related are so nostalgic too. Maybe you made a special recipe with your grandmother. You went to a really fun restaurant every year this time of year, right? But she was saying like everyone does this stuff because of what they've done between like Christmas and New Year period. And like that matters so little. It matters more what you do from New Year's to Christmas. And I was like thinking about that and I'm like, yeah, that's so true. And we're all so focused on like fixing the wrongs that we made in that like 10-day gray area where we should really just be enjoying our lives to like a reasonable extent.
Yeah. That's such an interesting statement. I felt that, I mean, we joked a little bit about like, oh, we just want the gym to be February at this point because everybody's like showing up now.
Yeah, I do. But like good for them.
Yeah. And I guess those 10 days are always hard for me because I feel like I'm out of routine. I'm out of cycle. Like friends are everywhere. Work is kind of crazy or not crazy at all, but you know what's to come. But I've always tried to stay, or at least the last couple of years, consistent with like working out and trying not to eat trash for like 2 straight weeks, because then you are right. Then I'm talking to you about wanting to do 75 hard at the start of January because I feel so disgusted in like what I've done over the last 2 weeks. But if you sprinkle in a few things that you should just be doing year round, then you should feel okay when January 1 comes around and not feel like I just need to be so balls to the wall restrictive on one thing for 30 days.
Right, because you're just getting back into your routine versus like trying to reenact or reset this like incredibly restrictive mindset that will maybe last you 30 days. And then February 1st, you're just like finding yourself right back in the same spot, which like we've both been on like the yo-yo dieting, you know, things like that.
I more recently lost some weight that we didn't necessarily want to lose, let's say.
Sure.
But people keep talking about it. I hate that so much. I really wish that people like...
We should just make a PSA. Like, don't comment on... If you're gonna... I don't think I really realized this till like chatting with you more about it. But like, if you are going to comment on someone's body, whether it's like positive... I mean, if it's negative, shut the fuck up, right? But like, if it's positive, I feel like the nicest way to say it is like, you just look so great. You look like you're glowing, you look like you're radiant, but like not commenting on someone's size because maybe that's like reinforcing a not great thing.
And it did every time that somebody would say something to me, but I would keep joking and be like, don't you worry, I'll be back on it in a little bit. And I've saved every single one of my jean sizes because we all know that I'm going to go back and forth like I always have over the years.
I mean, which is very reasonable because most female bodies they fluctuate significantly within a month. Like your cycle changes between like your luteal phase and I don't really know the other thing. No, I just hear the word luteal phase a lot. And apparently that's the
phase where drop that in.
You're like not well. Like everyone should kind of be like grade, I think. I don't know.
Before your period? During?
What's hard is I don't know because like I don't have a very normal period. So I don't know my luteal phase is. But from what I've heard, I think it's before when you're acting crazy. I have one. It's just like comes as it please because hashtag PCOS.
Oh God.
But I'm like interested your thoughts about like the dieting culture and just like body image in general. And is it like I guess harder to deal with at this time of year because everyone is like so hyper fixated on like what they're eating because they want to care about what they look like. I don't think we've shifted the narrative yet where health is about not just like the size of your jeans or like the number on the scale, but about like, does your blood work panel come back and it's like, you know, all set. Like there's so many parameters within health and there's so many metrics. And I still think like your jean size and the number on the scale are the ones that as females, we still seem to be the most focused on.
Yeah. Dieting culture is really triggering for me because I want to jump on the bandwagon. Like, as you clearly saw the last time we chatted, I was about 75 hard.
Like, no.
Because I'm an all or nothing person. I've been an all or nothing person for a very long time. We talked about binge eating. Like, let's talk about restricting. Let's talk about purging. All of the above has been a part of my life. So when people want to talk about like, oh, I'm doing Whole30 for January or I'm doing dry January, that is even a little bit triggering to me because I don't drink a lot at all, but my husband's birthday is in January and it's kind of important to celebrate it. So I always do like celebrate something in January and then feel off like, oh, everybody else is doing dry January and I can't hold to that. I want to be like you in the sense of like picking certain habits and just creating that in your everyday life versus being so all or nothing. It's hard, you know, and
it's so hard.
It's a work in progress every single day for me. I try to be supportive of anybody that's going through that and wanting to explore that, but maybe not necessarily like, oh my God, sign me up. I'd love to do that with you because I know what that would turn to me. Like, it's just not a healthy place for me to sit.
And like, we've done it. It's not like we're just, even now I'm like, it's much easier for me to be like, I don't think you should do this because of X, Y, and Z versus like, if everyone that I was working with was like, oh, I'm going to do blah, 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 I'd probably be on board. But now I have the lens of like, oh, if someone wants to do like a number of steps a day challenge or how much water they drink, probably because I drink almost zero water.
I will do that challenge with you.
But like things like that, I'm like, I'm more apt to do that because it's one good habit within like good habits of a lifestyle versus like it's also exhausting. Like, I don't know if you remember when we were in Whole30 and you get to all those like, what is it, tiger blood phases?
Oh my God. Every day something different was going to happen with your body.
Yeah. But like, think about how much time we had to spend like thinking about food. And like that ultimately is something that like I want to get away from in general. And I think anybody that's ever struggled with like food addiction, eating disorder, binging, restriction, like I've only had a handful of some of those things. I don't know all of the things, but I think if you've ever struggled with your relationship with food, like that's just a triggering mindset to have, is because whether you're restricting or you're binging, all you're thinking about is food. And like, I want to move away from that. And so now when someone presents me with like, oh, do you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I would do a step challenge. I would do like a 50 squats a day challenge. Like I would do something like that versus like, I'm going to try and restrict the food I eat, because then I'm just, again, focusing on food all day long. And it's exhausting. Like it's tiring.
Yeah. Food noise is a real thing. I believe it. But not everybody has it, which is really odd.
And I would literally give like part of my body up.
Fucking sell anything for it.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
It is.
But what somebody said to me when I was going through like recovery with one of my first eating disorders, let's name them all. They've all been there. But
that like the first one on the list.
The hardest thing for somebody recovering from that or dealing with food issues in general is that you have to face that every day. That's not something that you can just disappear from. Whereas an alcoholic, a drug addict, any of those issues, you don't go to a bar. You don't go to the street where they're selling the drugs that you used to be obsessed with. But you have to eat every single day. That is something that your body needs to survive.
No, I definitely agree with you. I will like caveat that, because I feel like we were talking about this in one of our edits, that like I've never been an alcoholic. I've never been a drug addict. I can only imagine that those are difficult in other ways too, because like not going to the bar,
of course,
right? And I don't think you were like trying to minimize that. I just think it's important to say like, I think that those are equally challenging in other ways, but you're right. Like you can't quit eating, like you'll die, like, it's
a priority.
So you have to figure out how to do it, and like, you have to be around it. And it's such a, like, you have to do it 3 times a day. It's not like you could just do it. Well,
I'm not always doing it.
No, but
3
like,
times a day.
I don't know why all of a sudden like Twilight came into my head, where I'm like, it's not like we're a vampire and we could just like feed once a week. You know what I mean? Like you're faced with it constantly.
Yeah.
So you have to just, the food noise is real, and then you have to figure out how to manage it, which just takes a fuck ton of mental energy.
Yeah. Which we don't have the time or mental energy to consume. Like I have too many tabs as it is. I don't want to be thinking about food too.
We're going to be doing like the every time. Too many tabs with a W.
Yeah, I feel you on that. That's a hard one. I do want to repeat. I'm glad that you said that.
Sorry, I don't think you were trying to say that.
No,
just like a caveat.
I have a very addictive personality, so I can only imagine. My husband has joked like, "Thank God you have never found heroin or something like that," because frankly, like I would have a problem. So I can only imagine what that is. I think for me, it is easier, it is more widely accepted for people to be talking about diet culture, what they want to do with their bodies, you know, et cetera, versus drinking, drugs, et cetera.
Drugs, et cetera. All the other things that one become addicted to in a lifetime. I don't know. I just think like body image in general. And I feel like, as I was saying, and I'm like, especially as women, because I do think there's so much pressure as a female to like look a certain way. And I'm so grateful that in our lifetime, we've gotten to see like different size women, like on, not in just like campaigns, but on websites and like showing clothing and such. But I also, I mean, we're not dudes, so I don't know, but I imagine that like being a guy is also equally as hard, but it's just in a much more like muted, embarrassing way.
Yeah.
Because men struggle with body image too. Like when you see a guy on a screen, it's not very often that they take off their shirt and they're not like chiseled, right?
Yeah.
And I know that the dad bod, I think that some people have been like, well, see, they get to have the dad bod. And I'm like, yeah, but it's more of like a joke. I don't know that people are like, if they have a dad bod, I think you now have this like scapegoat almost to be like, see, it's like a cool thing. But that doesn't mean that they're like going home being like, yeah, I'm glad that someone categorized me as that.
Right.
Like,
right.
But, and I don't know why I went on this tangent, but like, I think oftentimes being a female, like there's a lot of things that like hormonally we struggle with more. And I think it's harder for us to lose weight and blah, blah, blah. But I feel bad for the guys too, because I feel like not only do they have the same struggles that we have, but like they're not really given a place to talk about it. Where like now women are getting more of a voice to be like, yeah, these things are all true. Where like for guys, no one's still really chatting about it.
I didn't think about that. And honestly, I don't know any guys, my husband included, that have talked about those things or body issues, etc. I know more recently, a few clothing lines for men came out that were like plus size, or curvy is not the right word to use for a dude,
And it's
but
not big and tall.
yeah, because honestly, that's
Yeah.
what sucked for them. I remember my brother's extremely tall, and growing up, like there was not really a place for him to go and shop. Kind of like us too. It was Lane Bryant, big and tall. Those were the places that you went if you were tall or big across the board, because
Right.
they didn't have anything for someone like us. But I still feel that the pressure, maybe it's just in America, the pressure as a female is very different. It's not just about your body size, it's what you look like. It's all of the above, right? So I feel bad for the dudes, but I think we have it harder.
I mean, I would definitely agree, but I just think, you know, it's even like anything like mental health. I think women are maybe, I dare to say, like, I think we're braver in some senses to start talking about it, but I think
Yeah.
a lot of that, which is beautiful and empowering, has come also like this narrative that like men don't have to deal with it. And I'm like, they very much have to deal with it, and like in a quieter, more like suffering sense. So I just like, now that we have this platform for like 3 people to listen to, I'm like, I feel like it's important to consider perspective, right? And I think that's something that you and I think we're relatively good at, is being able to be like, well, this is how I feel about something, but it doesn't mean that someone else like agrees. And I think that's how we like approach relationships and all of these different things. But I think especially when it comes to body image, I mean, it's just, it's hard. Like, it's shitty. And I think anybody that's ever struggled with their relationship with food or with their relationship with their body, like, this is a lifelong struggle. Like, I know you've spent a lot of time in therapy working through this. And I'm like thousands and thousands of dollars of like EMDR and therapy and all of that. But it's like something that we'll deal with for the rest of our lives, and it will ebb and flow. Like, if we were to ever have kids, I'm like, that will open a whole other worm of like how your body feels and what it's needing to do. And I think sometimes I feel like people are like, yeah, but how beautiful, like that you can lift weights or you could, you know, feed a child, right? All that can be true. And it can also fucking suck to have to do it. Like, I love the notion of like 2 things can be true. And I feel like I say it all the time now, because people are so stuck on like what their reality is. And I'm like, that can be true. And something else that's maybe a bit contradictory can also be true.
And my therapist would love that, because she always says, yes, absolutely, Ariel. And here's another truth that I would also like to pair with this truth that you have.
Sometimes I'm like, maybe your therapist should like me. Mine, she doesn't say and often, but sometimes I'm like, when I was going through like the binge eating part and I was like, well, that's a bad food. She's like, maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's not good. Maybe it just is. And I was like, okay.
Good and bad foods is something that they very much talk about, and everything to do with like recovery, right? Because there is no good or bad foods. Like, it's just food. It's here to nourish your body. Oh my God, they use pizza as an example all the time, because pizza has like all of the food groups that you actually need in a well-balanced meal. But in your head, you think like pizza's a bad for you food. You can't have that, right?
Right. Where it's just more about like the balance of things. Like, you should still eat. We both know what it's like when you're restrictive, then it makes you want it more.
Right.
It's like a kid where you tell them not to touch something hot over and over again. I mean, maybe Kyle would probably be like, I didn't touch it. Meanwhile, I'm like, burn. Because I'm like, well, they told me no. So like,
burn unit.
More correct.
I think the other thing that I found interesting in speaking more with you, like obviously we connected on that and we felt really comfortable with that. I've always been really open. I almost use like my weight and height as a joke immediately. I'm 6'1". You are going to see me the second I walk into a room. So let's just like break the ice immediately.
You do have like a humor with it.
Yeah, it's just easier that way. So I always would lean on friends like you that, you know, you are also very tall. You've gone through a very similar experience in life with me in terms of body issues. But I also have like smaller friends, skinnier friends, shorter friends that have very similar thoughts in their mind too, of what they think their body looks like, what they feel expectations should be for themselves in the world. And it's interesting because I used to like put them in a very different world of how they experience things. And still, I don't necessarily want to talk to like my skinniest bitch friend about like gaining weight or, you know, being the biggest person in a gym class. That happens to me very often, you know, but it is interesting to know, like, that's something that they deal with too. Like, I can't sit here and think like, oh, I'm the only one that's ever going to deal with my own body image issues. That's something that
100%.
skinny bitches have too.
Skinny bitch. Hashtag skinny bitches.
I love that.
Have it too. No, I feel like we've talked about that a lot, where you do like when you start to open up, which I really had never done until talking to you about it. And then you start talking to like other people where you're like, oh, you were suffering with similar, like, you know, different, same, but different, right?
Yeah.
But like, I can't say that I've really met many women in my life who have never struggled with body image. How could you not? Like, it's thrown in our faces every step of the way. And I also think it's a very, like, when you go to the doctor, I think this is starting to change, but even in your PCP, like, weight is always the first thing that will fix any problem. And how I feel about that, and we've talked about this a lot, where it's hard, where I'm like, I realize that like weight is a factor in health issues, right? Like, there is a lot of necessity at finding like a healthy weight for you, but one that looks different for everybody. Like, some people, how tall are you? Like, what are your family genetics? Like, there's different, everyone's going to sit at a different level of like healthy weight. But I feel like when you go to a doctor's office, that's like the first thing that people are like, well, do you diet and exercise? Yeah. And even that, where I'm like, why are we still using the word diet and doctor? Like, do you live a healthy lifestyle? And like, what does that mean?
I like that. I do like that. Yeah. Or BMI. That's a hill that I will fucking die on. I'm so sorry, but that is the most archaic fucking metric system possible for a body. It makes no sense to me. But every single time I go to the doctors, my height, my weight, and my BMI are all displayed on the printout that they give you. And it's like, is that what's defining me? That's what you're thinking is any of my ailments is related to this number? Because that's not
true.
It is not factoring in your height to the level of where we're sitting right now, especially as females. Yeah. It's also from a million years ago when the world was a different place. Individuals weren't the size that we are today.
100%. And like the assumptions that come with it. Like, I feel like anytime I go into a doctor, I just got a new primary care specialist and I feel like mine retired.
Oh, sad.
I know. It's a really tough go. I'm like, rough go. But when I was in there, I feel like, and I probably didn't have to say this, and this person was very nice, so I'm sure I didn't, but I was like, I know it doesn't look like it, but I work out like 5 or 6 days a week.
Why would you say that?
Because I think a lot of people assume that you wouldn't, right? And like, if I put myself in the place of like judgment, I might not assume that someone is like heavier or bigger works out. Like, it's just how we're like trained to think. And yet here I am, I'm like, yeah, I'm stronger than the average person because I bust my butt in the gym. But if you looked at me, you probably wouldn't assume that. And I can't even really be mad at someone, because if I was the other person, I probably would assume the same thing. It takes me, like, I can quickly snap myself out of it and be like, that's not a rational assumption. That's actually a very rude assumption, because look in the mirror and you know that to not be true. But like, it's how society and like our media and film and all of that has like portrayed a lot of these people. I'm like, people that are not a size 2. Yeah. Hello.
I am these people. That hurts my heart to hear that. I think that's another funny thing in talking about this and how we experience things. I've never once thought that I need to explain to somebody that I'm healthy, that I eat right, etc. Maybe to my parents. My parents always were very difficult with just like dieting as a kid, and you shouldn't be this size. And I know that they were just doing the right thing. It was the 90s. Like, that was all
what their
the
primary care was telling them.
Right. But
are you eating the 100-calorie stack packs?
Right. Fuck me.
And I'm like, yeah,
20 all 20s on the day.
I was, but like 4 at a time. So I might as well just eat the regular fucking
just
cookie.
Give me the full box.
100%.
But that hurts my heart that you feel that you would have to even lay that groundwork for somebody. I don't think I ever once went through my life thinking like, I'm going to need to explain to them that I'm an athlete or something. But I also was in school and like, I had people, I guess, my size that were very athletic. So in my head, I thought,
it's just
same.
Yeah. I'm sure you don't have to, but I think there is, like, I know that I would maybe be judgmental. I'm a judgy bitch. Yeah, but I guess to like wrap up, but we could talk about this for like the next 6 days.
There are going to be part 2s, part 3s, part 4s.
I don't even think parts, just like we're going to keep having these conversations as like real life experiences happen to us, which they inevitably will every single day. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up because everyone is so like restrictive mindset this time of year, like every single year. Maybe that's just North America, but I'm like, it is definitely anybody you meet is like, no sugar, no alcohol, no. It's always focused on what I'm taking away from myself, not just like what I'm going to add in to help balance that out.
Yeah. I like looking at it in a balanced way. I think a couple years ago, I've been like, you're fucking crazy. Like that's not going to get me anywhere.
I would be doing 900 hard. Like I'm like 365 hard. Like give it to me.
75 isn't enough.
75 is never enough.
I know.
Yeah. But anyway, that's why I wanted to bring it up. So until next time.
Can't wait.